Hey, hello, 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 hey, hello, hello.
Peace and light, y'all. I hope you are well. So in this video, I'll be discussing how I physically cleanse my copper and crystals. It is important that we keep them clear and cleansed so that they can vibrate at their highest supreme energy. So first, you'll see me gently rubbing my crystals and copper inside of a copper sponge. And this is just to remove any excess mineral dust that may be on it that's easily removed. Here I have a little bit of finely grained sea salt. This is very finely grained sea salt. You can find this at Trader Joe's or Whole Foods. Be sure to get the finely grained one if possible. The sea salt acts as a catalyst for the solution and also as an exfoliator on the crystals and copper. Here I have apple cider vinegar with the mother. As we know, this is like a miracle, okay? And we use apple cider vinegar for everything. But what this does is it helps break down some of those minerals and some of that copper mineral dust that may be on it. So I'm doing about 1 part sea salt to 2 parts apple cider vinegar, and I'm just gently stirring it here. You'll see me drop my crystals inside of the solution, but before I do that, I say a little prayer over my crystals and copper. And I like to keep that prayer private, but basically I'm just praying for, protection and peace and a good energy cleansing session. So I've dropped my crystals and copper inside of the solution, and I'm just gently shaking it around, just very gently and slightly, making sure that it is entirely covered. And you can kind of already see some of the mineral dust being removed. You kind of see the copper shining a little brighter than it was before, and that's after only a few seconds being in there. Now, you'll see me take a sage stick. So I burned a lot of sage, and I often have like sticks left over that didn't quite burn well. So I take that stick and I use that to stir my crystal and my copper inside of the solution. I choose to use a sage stick because sage is a purifier and it's an energy cleanser. So I use the sage stick to stir it to help aid the cleansing process of whatever energy my crystals may be carrying, and to essentially prepare them for recharging when we do the spiritual cleansing. I removed the copper and the crystal out of the solution, and I just gave it a light little rinse in warm water. I'm taking the copper sponge again, and I'm lightly rubbing the copper with the copper sponge just in order to get like a nice little shine on it and make sure that any mineral dust is cleansed off of it. You'll see me bending back the copper. I made this jewelry myself, and I know exactly how to bend the copper back. I know exactly how I designed it, so I'm very careful and cautious as I'm using a dry cloth to dry the jewelry. It's very important that you use a dry cloth because you don't want the solution and any type of water to just sit and rest in your jewelry. So I'm bending back the copper, and I'm cleansing using the copper sponge once again just to cleanse it and get those little nooks and crannies. And I just go back and forth with the copper sponge and a dry wipe just to make sure it's fully cleansed. So once I do that a couple of times, you'll see the before and after, where you see like the minerals and all the little oxidized crystals, and after it's nice and shiny and pretty and ready to be spiritually cleansed. Thank you for subscribing. I'm looking forward to our next video on spiritually cleansing crystals and copper. I hope it is well received. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below or DM me on Instagram at the Queen Po. Peace and light, y'all.